Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Mike Larkin, and folks, each and every time we get to see these shows, I've had a lot of old content, new content, and great fresh content for you. Always love including a lot of my peers that I work with in podcasting and just great people and great friends, and this is no different. Joining me today is we're going to be doing this pretty much weekly, as this is the weekly review, the one, the only RWD dead man, Mr. Paul Morales. How are you, Paul?
What's up, Mr. Michael Larkin? How you been, man?
I am good, folks. For those who have not checked out the RWT Dead Man, that is Mr. Paul Morales and Raw Wrestling Talk, you, my friend, have done your doggone thing at RWT. You've worked with the great Moses Marquez, and I'm happy to have you aboard what we're doing here. You've done a lot of great work in podcasting, so I got to say, really chopping up with you talking about the weekend review is going to be fun because you do know your thing or two about wrestling, so I appreciate you.
I know a little bit.
A little something. But no.
Little something.
But I think with this review, the best way to start with this show, folks, is finally the former WWE champion Jinder Mahal has come back to Raw. No, I'm kidding. It's The Rock. What a troll job by fucking Triple H. Everybody, the anguish of, Jinder's music.
You see everybody, you see the crowd, and we were like, yeah, let's wait. And all of a sudden, it was like, it was like puncturing a hole in your brand new tire, or on your bike that you just got for Christmas, puncturing a hole in it, and everybody's just like, oh.
That's the thing too. It's just we start with Jinder. First of all, don't hinder the Jinder, number one, but number two, he cut a great.
That's Amir Blackbane Costello, man. That's his boy right there. We can't hinder the Jinder.
No, shout out to the Kingpin, number one. But number two, say what you will about it, but I got to say, he has such natural heel heat, and Jinder being the antagonist to Rock's protagonist in this segment, like The Rock doing the Iron Sheik references, and this whole promo was just so good that led up to the ass kicking that he got. I really like the whole vibe that the two of them had.
Oh, it was pretty good. Kind of went a little long, but I understand why it went a little long, because previous match was supposed to go longer, which was Kofi Kingston and I forgot who the hell they were. I know it was Imperium that they were wrestling.
Kofi and a Jay against Imperium. Which
and
poor Vinci, man. Poor Giovanni Vinci.
He took that bump, man. That was a pretty hard bump, even though people said, it didn't look like it was too bad. But I mean, when you go back and you see even like the stuff on Twitter that they were posting, and they were talking about it just in general, like he hit his head, like he hit his back like he was supposed to, but I mean his head just ricocheted back. That whiplash effect just took him out.
I think it's also smart on the referee that they stopped it the way that they did.
And
thankfully he's good, because it looked rough, but god dang it, man, that's professional wrestling for you. And I mean, professional wrestling is the art that it is. And it gave us The Rock laying it to smack it down on Jinder Mahal, people's elbow and a spine buster for your deeds. And then The Rock says, hey, I'm hungry. Should I sit at the booth? Should I go to the bar? Or should I sit at the head of the table? Rock and Roman is put into the universe. Are we going to get it this year? Some people are saying, oh, my God, poor Cody Rhodes. He's going to get screwed at WrestleMania. But I'm like, Elimination Chamber's in Australia. It's not a B-level pay-per-view. It's in front of 70,000 people in Perth. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. As far as them moving it, this was the discussion I think we were gonna specifically talk about.
Right.
Rounding it around Cody, which will be our next subject. But we'll stick on this part first.
Okay.
I'm kind of leaning towards Elimination Chamber. I understand we go back to the Rock series, but the little interaction between, Big Rock, Teenage Rock, and, Little Joe, acknowledge me, we go back to that. They said that the match should happen at WrestleMania. Fast forward, I think the match should happen at WrestleMania. The fact that it probably will not says more about what Triple H wants. He wants a marquee match for Elimination Chamber, aside from the Elimination Chamber matches. Rockin' Reigns does sound more appealing, especially in Australia.
I think that's the best way to go with it, is just the fact that, again, you have the market of the international side of things, which I think the last time they were in Australia and the main event was for the Global Warming Tour back in '02 was The Rock, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H for the Undisputed Championship. And then you look at it now, 22 years later, having The Rock headlining a show in Australia. I mean, that show was in Melbourne, but you're going to Perth for the first time. And again, 70,000 seat arena. It's big for the international market and it draws people in. I think it doesn't matter where you would put it because people have argued on Twitter about it. I'm like, they did Roman Reigns and John Cena. The first time they wrestled each other was on a No Mercy, for God's sake, but it was still a great match on a pay-per-view that people would call B level. So, I mean, there's so many great stuff like you can really incorporate within the story of Roman and Rock, and then eventually getting to Roman and Cody for WrestleMania. So I really was hyped to see Roman and Rock and being finally put into the universe. Let's see if it happens. Let's manifest this. But then you get to Cody. Do you think he's going to finish the story? I'll start with this one, man. Yes. You. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. I think he's going to finish this story.
Okay.
Whether it happens at WrestleMania will depend on if Triple H really wants, really sees that as the marquee match for WrestleMania. Now, it would probably more than likely be night 2. I'll give it that. Maybe night 1, and I'll tell you why. Because if their plan is to do Rock versus Reigns and they end up moving it away from Elimination Chamber, it could probably co-main event night 2. Reigns and Rhodes taking the title night 1, Reigns Rock night 2, head of the table. That's pretty much what he wants it for. He doesn't want the title. Obviously, Rock doesn't need the title in his hands, but he wants to be the head of or he sees himself as the head of the table, especially for the Samoan dynasty. I mean, you look at the lineage, his dad is part of it. Reigns is a little bit more into it because those are his uncles. Those are his, same as The Rock. Those are his uncles. That's his family. That's the lineage I would like to see portrayed if it's going to be either night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania.
I have to agree with you on the fact that I think it's not about a world championship. The best title is being said head of the table. And what I like about how you put that is, too, is, I mean, the reason I also say yes to as well is when we get towards SummerSlam, and where this whole thing started a mere 4 years ago now, that's we're going towards Hulk Hogan territory. So I'll follow up with, do you think that they would want to have Roman beat the Hulk Hogan reign, if you will, for so many 1,000+ days that Hulk Hogan had it? Do you think they want to go past Hogan, or you think WrestleMania?
Okay. Now I'm gonna get to that part right now because you brought it up. Now you really got to scratch that surface. Okay,
all right, I'm going there.
Roman Reigns has been champion for a little over what, 1,200 days, something like that, whatever. Okay, so I did a little digging. 642 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's how many days he's been champion. I guess that would be quote unquote under the WWE umbrella of being the WWE champion. 642 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's been Universal Champion. Yes, over 1,000 and something days. I can't really say that I'm trying to okay, let me try and put this back. Okay, Hulk Hogan had a long title reign from 1984 to 87 when he didn't really lose it. Mind you, he was stripped of it.
Yes.
Vacated it, ended up being a tournament, WrestleMania 4.
Yes.
For the title. Now, my thing is like you have to look at the work, the body of work that Reigns is doing. He's not doing anything. Like they said last year, he had, I think it was like 12, 13 matches that he had all year. I remember Bruno Sammartino, the statistic in a long time ago. I remember reading this that he literally did in a 30-day month. He literally did 28 championship matches in 1 month. Only took 2 days off. Hulk Hogan in a span of 6 weeks held defended his title 12 times. In 365 days, Roman Reigns has defended it 12 times.
Right.
That's once a month.
Uh-huh.
How are we supposed to look at his title reign as being something as significant as the people that are above him? Bruno Sammartino, a Bob Backlund, who was a great champion at the time, especially being a transitional champion as he was. And then he ended up having 2 long title reigns, same as Bruno Sammartino. Hulk Hogan being who he was, I'm trying to understand how we're going to try and level up Roman Reigns to being in that statistical category and him being in that upper echelon of great champions. How are we supposed to look at him like that?
It reminds me of, I think, because they try to equate it's like it's old school, like, he's held it for so long and he equated to the reigns. But I look at like a stance of like Pedro Morales, like you mentioned, a Bob Backlund, a Hulk Hogan. They've had more than just 12 title defenses in a year. Like they were on and off, especially with how everything was back in the 80s to the 90s for the travel tenure. It's one of those things where I look at it, it's like you can't really measure up to that. I've enjoyed Roman's reign. I think he has an aura. I think he has that appeal about him. This is the best work he's done, like ever since the inception of this, since 2020. But I'm like, no, we're not getting a Hogan level here. If there's a right pit stop and there's a right time for Roman Reigns to take off and lose it, it would be now. Just again, going back to storytelling and finishing the story. But the other part of this is, and we'll touch upon this because this is the next part of where we're going here, Roman Reigns not acknowledging The Rock and just laughing at him on social media with the tweet, laughing at him on SmackDown. That adds more appeal to The Rock thing because it's not, he's not taking him seriously. He's not relevant. Why would I take it to it? So there's added more layers, even more to a Roman versus Rock match that a lot of people want to see. So, I mean, it adds that little sprinkle to it.
Exactly. And, the one thing that WWE has been wanting, and I mean, this goes back to when Vince was in charge. He wanted a particular baby face for his company. He wanted a baby face that was upper on that top level. And I heard funny things. Shout out to Denise Salcedo because I heard her say it earlier today. She mentioned it. The one thing that WWE always had been dying for the last, I'd say 5+, maybe 6, 7, 8 years, is for a babyface to be up on that upper echelon of one John Cena. That's what they've wanted. They wanted somebody to carry this company as a babyface for WWE, for holding that flag. And that one person is Cody Rhodes. How many times are you going to deny this man a championship? Now, I think he should have won it last year. Now, that's just me. Offhands, forget the long title reign of Roman Reigns. Fine. You want to take it off of Cody, have Reigns win it back? Fine. I'm okay with that. But there has to be some substance to the title reigns. There has to be some substance to this title. It's not being defended. And then the times that it has been defended, it's like something always happens. We see that for guys who are defending the titles over and over and over and over again. They're in their factions or whatever. Somebody comes in, does something, has them holding the title. Now we're seeing it so often that it's just kind of like, what's the point?
I mean, look at the Triple H reign of terror when that started in late 2002. Every match was just ref bump, sledgehammer shot, Ric Flair gets involved, Evolution gets involved, pedigree 1, 2, 3, rinse, lather, repeat kind of deal.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going to go next. It was like lather, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
That's what we got.
Hell, I mean, I'll make a TNA reference. It's like when Jeff Jarrett was always the NWA World Champion in 2004. Like he would have Planet Jarrett get involved. You see Scott Hall and Kevin Nash get involved. Ref bump, guitar shot, 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. No matter what it was always Now, mind you, if he's a heel, he's a strict heel, and you want him to have that heat, fine. Have the heat. But it looks like the route that we're going is like you have this guy who's just holding the title for what I mean, until you had a particular baby face come in. I think somebody like Sami Zayn could have held this title. Somebody like Jey Uso could have held this title. Do you want that? Do you want them to be this? Do I think that they would be the exact same upper echelon as John Cena? No. But they're cutting it. They're right there. They're right on that cusp. But you don't know unless you actually hand them the title. And you're talking about people who love them. I mean, I love Sami Zayn. I love Jey Uso. These are guys who were getting so much pop from the crowd that you want them to have it. You want them to carry this banner.
I'll use two names, like going back to the Triple H era. It's like when Rob Van Dam was red hot and he was going for the world title. They could have put it on Rob Van Dam, but Triple H won. Booker T at WrestleMania. We always talk about that. Booker T should have won the damn belt at WrestleMania 19. But we're also in a stay and age. What I like about WWE is like they build up guys like two you mentioned great ones there, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. Like any of these guys could be champion, and we love it because they're building up these stars. Jey Uso with the Yeet, one of the most popular baby faces, much like Cody Rhodes on Raw. You have Sami Zayn, who's a white meat baby face, that underdog, if you will, from the underground, so to speak. So I like the fact that they're building up these major stars that could defeat a Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. You also have Drew McIntyre on the side here doing his thing with Seth. You have Damian Priest in the wings. Like how they're setting up the title matches is great. Like I like what they're doing with Seth and Drew. Like that was a badass match on Raw with Damian Priest, in the wings, so to speak. But I really do enjoy the fact that we're having multiple people that could possibly end it. And I like how the direction that they're going with it. I would just wish with the Roman stuff, it could be more, all right, we're tired of the Paul Heyman. Here comes Jimmy. Here comes Solo. There has to be more than just, I'm going to screw you. I'm going to do anything at all costs, so to speak, which is the definitive heel move. But also at the end of the day, not enough with the rinse, lather, repeat, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm at. I mean, and we'll go back to what you just mentioned a little while ago about Reigns not acknowledging The Rock of what he said. Yeah. Paul Heyman did because Paul Heyman knows. Yeah. Now, I get it. Storyline, I get it. But it's out there. It's in the universe. We're going to end up seeing it. Where it happens, I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks.
Well, we'll get to Reigns not acknowledging The Rock. Did you like the laughing emoji on social media, him just laughing him off on SmackDown?
I thought it was pretty interesting, and I get it. You want to laugh at it. You heard it, you want to laugh at it, and it's like, all right, poke the bear. Go ahead. Fine, go ahead and do it.
What I like about it too is, as well as, and I'll get to the Paul Heyman part. First of all, for those who have not seen the Paul Heyman promo on SmackDown, the facial expressions, the fact that he's like, CM Punk, welcome back. And then he just gets right back into the serious.
Yeah, and then gets right back into the seriousness.
Like, then they just teased in that one little thing that we're probably going to get Roman Reigns versus CM Punk down the line, which I am all for. Give it to me. The OG Paul Heyman guy against the Tribal Chief, I'm all for that. That sets up something into the universe for down the line. I'm for that. And with CM Punk, like with him, like I cannot wait to see what he does. And now I'm going to ask you this as a Royal Rumble aside. CM Punk, do you see him winning the Rumble since it is the 10-year anniversary of when he was in the last Royal Rumble in 2014, and then he would subsequently quit the WWE and take his ball and go home? Well, how does that feel 10 years later that he comes back and wins?
Okay.
Get me.
I think as much as everybody keeps saying CM Punk should win the Royal Rumble,
yeah,
I think Cody should repeat.
All right, fair enough.
And we'll go back to Elimination Chamber, since if Reigns is not going to be in the Elimination Chamber match, it's going to be for a contender for a championship. Since Cody wins, CM Punk wins the Elimination Chamber, comes out of the last pod. Only a couple of guys left. He doesn't have to work as hard, I mean, and mind you, this is saving him, because I was here in LA. We went to the Forum. We saw him. He looked phenomenal. We see how jacked he looks from the time that he left AEW to the time he looks now. He looks more in shape than he did when he got injured in AEW. And right now, I just think personally, he just if I'm a betting man, I'm not gonna put all my house in this. But I think that Elimination Chamber should be something for him to win, him and set up him and Rollins, and it just happened at WrestleMania.
I
Night
like
one.
I like that scenario as well. And I mean, when you talk about CM Punk, like for the healthy stuff, I think with everything that was going on in AEW, especially from late 2022 to late 2023, I think he's happier. He doesn't have to be around
Yeah.
what he was around. And I think with him, like he's taking this serious, like it's his last chance. He wants to make money. Him and Triple H have gotten back together as far as, being on the same page. And like he said, time heals all wounds. It's all about healing. And I think this version of Punk we're going to see is going to be really something special from the promos, the mic work, and what we get to do from the in-ring work. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I think there's a lot of great people that are going to be coming in that we're going to be talking about in today's forum. But this also moves us on to the AEW side of things, and we're going to shock the system, sort of. We got the Undisputed Kingdom, AEW, Paul. What are your thoughts on Adam?
Oh my gosh.
Adam
Okay,
Cole?
so
No, go ahead.
oh my god. Okay, so I'm probably gonna. If anybody listen, when people start listening to this and they start hearing me ramble, believe me, I'm gonna piss some people off.
Oh, I have a feeling I know where this is going. So go ahead.
Okay, so this whole segment for them coming out was complete and utter garbage. How is it you have such a top notch that you're trying to make this group, this solidified group, supposedly solid group, be so dominant at beating up MJF, come into the ring and be spooked off, scared off, like as if they had no pull at all, none whatsoever. I get it. If anything happens, I mean, Wardlow's supposedly gonna bring the title to Adam Cole. Adam Cole's gonna be champion, and this is like back to lather, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
Christian Cage.
Yep.
Christian Cage did the exact same thing. Him and
Kill Switch,
Luchasaurus, which is not isn't it Kill Switch.
Yes.
Won the damn thing, came over, handed it to Christian. Christian ended up winning the TBS title or TNT title back from Adam Copeland. So it's like you did this just not a week earlier. You do it up a week later, and it's like, why?
Well, go back to when Wardlow won the ladder match, and he's like, well, Wardlow, he's going to be with me. I'm the one who pays him. So once he wins that World Heavyweight Championship, he's going to give it to me. Like, he did the exact same thing with MJF when he was going for the title. Like, they're doing the same shit over and over again.
Again, lather, rinse, repeat. It's just the same thing. And now it didn't take a long time for it to happen.
Yeah.
We're just talking days later.
Friggin' Wardlow's just sitting there like, I'm going to give the title to you. Say what? We're already starting.
You see the look on his face. He's like,
what?
I'm going to do what?
What? Like, they're already starting the dissension. And like you mentioned, they just started the fucking group.
Exactly. And that's what pissed me the fuck off. I was completely and utterly just like, I went like, yeah, I'm hyped for them to come out. And all of a sudden they went, Gender. I'll go back to that again. Gender and The Rock. It was like,
well, for me to add on to your point, like I was like, wait a minute, okay, so we're not going to even address the fact like you could have just taken out MJF on the biggest show of the year in Wembley and hugged Roddy there. No, you wanted to wait to screw him to Long Island, but also at the same time, it's like you could have done it at any time. But the fact of the matter is you don't even talk about that. You just talk about, you know what, you should be booing him. You should be cheering me. And they did all this stuff. And then Roddy and, the Kingdom of the Tag Champs and Wardlow, for me, it falls flat just because they could have done this sooner. But also we knew it was coming that Adam Cole was going to be the doggone devil. And for me, it just fell flat. Like you mentioned, they're running from the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn and the Bullet Club Club Gold with Jay White and the Gun Boys. I'm like, they have a feud too, but the enemy of my enemy is my enemy, and now they're going to probably be going against the Undisputed Kingdom. And I'm like, okay, like, you're kind of like, again, devaluing the badassery that this should be. Are we going to make them a tag team or a dominant faction, or are we going to make them the aces and eights?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you've never seen Bullet Club do that.
No.
No, Bullet Club was dominant, no matter
Yes.
which way you want to look at it. From everybody who ran it, from AJ
Finn.
to Finn to even Jay White, they were always dominant, no matter what. But now you have Adam Cole, who was actually leader of the Bullet Club. Now all of a sudden it was like you just fell flat. You fell flat, and it's like, how are we as fans supposed to be invested in this group? I'm gonna go along the lines as anything that they've been doing as of late. You have literally 8 or 9 guys that were wanting to come after MJF for that title. You had Samoa Joe. You had the line went out the door. Literally, it was like every time you turned around, somebody was like, "I'm going to challenge you for the title," or "I'm going to get that title from him." And it's like, where's the cutoff? Where are the guys that are supposed to be in this section, in this section, and in this section? Well, you have your upper guys, you have your mid carders, and then you have your lower guys. But in general, everybody was coming after MJF for the title.
Right. I mean, they're kind of doing that with Samoa Joe now, like Samoa Joe, who got attacked by them and just nothing. Like, all right, we're going to work together, much like he did with them when he went for the Ring of Honor tag titles and turned on MJF. But I'm like, now you're going the direction of, if you looked at Collision, and I didn't watch a lot of it, I just saw this because this pertains into what we're doing. Like Samoa Joe and Hook. Like Hook is like, I'm going after you, Samoa Joe. Like, we're already going into like Samoa Joe and Hook now.
Oh,
like, all right.
Yeah, we get Samoa Joe and Hook this Wednesday, at Homecoming, back at what the hell's the name of it? Dave's Palace.
Yeah, Daly's Place.
Yeah, Daly's Place. So it's like now we have him coming back and moving. Sorry, I'm moving my leg.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it's back again. I go back to all these people coming after the title, and nobody is like a legitimate threat to the title.
No, it just it feels like it's like hot potato. It's like if you're watching the Wiggles and the hot potato song comes on. It's like it's out of nowhere. Tony Khan does not, like, he just flies by the seat of his pants with his booking. It's everything out of mothballs. It's like he just has no sense of here. He's here. That's the issue that we see with Tony Khan and his booking. And again, look, like Takeshita, they could have been, and unfortunately with Kenny Omega with his diverticulitis, but you could have had that blow off. But now it's, he's involved with whatever they're doing now with, Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho, and now we're getting Ricky Starks and Big Bill and them for the tag titles. Like Sex Gods are back. So I mean, it's all over the place for me. And I know we're probably going to get hate from this, but, and again, we watch AEW, we're fans, we watch wrestling every week, but we see the stuff that happens through with this company. And I'm not trying to hate on it, but a lot of the stuff right now just kind of feels very meh as opposed to what we're seeing on the WWE front.
Yeah, because Triple H knew that he was going to have to change things up. He went back to what he did in the Black and Gold. He knew what he was doing in Black and Gold. That's the reason why they were, for about 10 years, they were what they were. He built it up, and he knew what he was doing. And now Sean's doing the exact same thing in NXT, building it back up to what it used to be. But we're not seeing AEW level up to doing what they did in the beginning, what their initial
goal was
in their initial goal for this to happen. In these 5 years that they've been in existence, we've seen them start off on a good level. First 3 years, boom. All of a sudden, the last 2 years, it just seems to like steadily, slowly just start declining. And that's where we're at.
And speaking of where we're at, I got to follow up to your point, Mr. Paul Morales. The women's division is our next side of things here where we're talking about with AEW. Okay, first of all, Tony Storm is hilarious. Tony Storm is my favorite part of that women's division. She is.
Hey, kick your shoes, shoes off, tits out,
Watch
or
out for
watch for the shoe. Yeah, I
chin
mean,
up, baby. Oh,
yeah, chin up, tits out, watch for the
the
shoe.
shoe. I love it. I think this is some of her best work she's doing. It's Mildred Burke meets Marilyn Monroe. I dig it. It's funny. Mariah May being involved in the mix was cool, but this is also where I got to ask you. This also pertains to the women. Mariah May gets her win against Queen Aminata on AEW, and then here comes Deonna Purrazzo making that debut, and she's coming right at Tony Storm. What were your thoughts on the debut of the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo?
I have to say, if she was going to go back to WWE, I know she would have been up on that, up in the title picture anyways.
Yeah,
because I think not in NXT, because I think she already ran through NXT. Triple H would have already brought her up to the main roster and said, "Here, this is where I want you at. This is where I'm going to have you go to," and he would have probably thrown her up against Io Sky, because if we're betting people, we're going to end up seeing Becky and Rhea at WrestleMania for the world heavyweight title. So, her debuting, I'm so happy that TK took it upon himself to sign her. She's a really, really great pickup. TNA's lost. TNA's lost, not lost. TNA's lost, but you know what? They picked her up, and I'm really happy for her. I'm really happy they're inserting her into where they're going to put her into. I do hope eventually her and Tony Storm cross paths. I would love to see it. Something I think that they've improved on over the last month, and that's showing the women more. That was the reason why I chose this topic, is because I'd have to say for the last at least 6 months, there's been nothing for the women. I mean, you see them sporadically here and there. They're doing more in ROH, and nobody watches it,
right.
than they are in AEW.
Like Athena and Billy Starks had a great story going into Final Battle where they main evented. They're doing the stuff with Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. For AEW, I mean, they're featuring Julia Hart, of course, now the TBS champion, with Sky Blue in that mix there. They've had Abaddon come on. They had Thunder Rosa come back for that match on Collision. Serena Deeb's been getting some video packages, man. Her going back to being that meticulous submission machine again. That's cool. I mean, they're trying. They're going up to where they are here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like a lot of the women there. I mean, Ty is doing her thing now in Ring of Honor with her husband, but God dang it, man. Like, I mean, we're starting to get there, sort of, kind of, maybe, but I think with the influx of Deonna now, that adds more to the division, help it just continue to get up to the upper echelon.
Yeah, and then of course ROH is doing a women's TV title tournament. So we're going to end up seeing a lot more women, getting more chances to win a title. And that's something that I had wanted to see WWE do at one point in time. I would have liked to see them have a women's intercontinental title, something that you were already going to do with the tag titles and bouncing back and forth between shows. But I get it. You have enough women, but you're not showing enough women.
I think they actually kind of did that in one of the 2K video games where they had made up the women's intercontinental or United States championship. Like, that was cool. Like, if they did that in real life, I would be for it.
Yeah, I'd be for it too, because I mean, you have enough women on the roster now. Something that was pointed out to me, like my daughter is a big Rhea Ripley fan, like huge. She really, really loves Rhea Ripley. Now, she happened to ask me about, why is it like, there's only so many women's tag teams. I said, well, they unified the tag team titles that were in NXT. I gave her the rundown and I gave her the whole story.
Right.
But if you have 6 teams, real teams, not people that you've copy and pasted, together, not just, 2 random people, Natalia and
Tegan Knox.
Tegan Knox, not 2 people you just randomly put together. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, not just 2 people that you put together.
And Zoe Stark.
Yeah, and people who who are actual tag teams. Kaden Carter and her partner. Yeah, they're a tag team. Alba Fire and
Isla Dawn.
Isla Dawn. They're a tag team. So there's two. What I'm saying is like if you have at least 6 teams, you have some consistency.
You got Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. That's an actual tag team. So
Yeah, and they were an actual tag team in NXT.
they
So
were-
it's like if you have at least 6 tag teams ready to go, you have a tag team division. Same thing here. You have about 7 women that can battle it out for a tag title. Fine, perfectly fine, or an intercontinental title. I mean, back and forth between shows, perfectly fine.
Speaking of women and speaking of champions, that brings us to our next topic. Mercedes Moné, destination where? The journey, where does it take us? Do we see her? The lean is towards AEW, something she's going to be in WWE and be involved in the Bayley storyline with Damage Control and whatnot, where they ultimately leads to Bayley's face turn. What are your thoughts? Do you think we're AEW, as where a lot of people are saying, or do you think WWE?
It's funny, we get PW Insider that all of a sudden just pops out with a story that says she's gonna head to to AEW.
Mhm.
525 is what they're looking to maybe sign her for, because I guess that's what she's looking for.
She wants that
Five,
Charlotte
five,
Flair, baby.
yeah, she wants that Charlotte Flair money. And at one point in time, I thought, she is a global name. Don't get me wrong. If she were able to keep that Sasha Banks name and take it wherever she wanted to go around the world, believe me, that would have been something that she could have done. But it's Mercedes Moné. We're trying to figure out same person, different character. I think she can possibly end up back in the E, and surprise at the Royal Rumble.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I look at it from a standpoint with WWE. You have Nick Khan there, Hollywood. You have Endeavor. Like, that could also lead to more movie roles. She's been on TV before, and she's done some acting. Now, Naomi Trinity is looking to possibly be back, which they said she's going back probably towards the end of January. Royal Rumble. Like, if her friend is going back, that being Trinity Fatu, Naomi, like, come on now, bring them back as a tag team, but under the Triple H regime. Like, that would be cool.
I had this argument already once before. If she comes back, it's because Triple H and Nick Khan paid her money, are going to pay her money, pay her with incentives. She can get that upper money. Bring some. If they get Trinity back, put them both on that same level. Those tag titles could be up here with the other women's titles. Just under them, mind you, just under them, but they'd still be up there because you got great names that are under it, and then fighting for other women. Eventually, swap them out to where they end up going back for women's championships, the main championships, and I think that's where Mercedes wants to go. With Charlotte being out, insert her in. Here we go.
Now, here's my thing, too. I mean, if you look at the perspective of where they could go, we mentioned Damage Control and Sasha Naomi if Sasha does go back to the WWE. I mean, AEW, who I put it against, I mean, Tony has wanted to do her and Saraya just because of, Saraya being her, that was her last match before she had to retire. Tony Storm would be a good match. Deanna, Britt Baker. So, I mean, there's opponents there. But for me, if I'm just spitballing here like you are and how we're really talking the story of her going back to the WWE, I think that's where she should go back. But if she goes back to AEW, I think you have an asset on your hands, especially what she's done from her tenure of wrestling since 2013 in NXT to her exit to WWE last year. So, I mean, either way, it's a win-win scenario for a lot of people. But I do think this, because Tony Khan is very Tony Khan. And I think if she walked out of WWE with how she is, I can see her. She doesn't like how the women's division's being booked. I can see her walking out on Tony Khan. So there's so many things to look at there.
Yeah, something has to be right for her to be there. Yeah. There has to be a right scenario laid out for her to be there, period.
Beautifully said. And speaking about women being there, if you will, which brings us to another woman, Julia, Stardom, baby, the WWE, NXT. I'm for it. You know what I'm saying? Because she's another one that we've seen in Japan. We've seen her in Stardom. She's wrestled a lot of great women there, much like Mariah May, who's now on AEW. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like, sign me up for this.
Yeah, and I heard her group actually disbanded. The her group in Stardom actually disbanded. So I'm pretty much, I can see her, I could see Triple H swooping her up. I mean, it's if she's available at right now, she's going to end up at the Performance Center, and I'm pretty sure. Wait, let me run that back. I know she's available. I know she's going to end up at the Performance Center. Somewhere along the line, I heard and I read the exact same thing. She needs to improve on her English
I think she is.
because she's going to have to do her promos.
Yes, and I think what is she like? She's got like Japanese and Italian type of vibe, but her English isn't as par as it
Yeah.
would like it to be. Yeah, I mean it's doable. I think she would learn it, and I got to tie this in together because you and I were talking about this, and I love the fact that we're going to bring this up here. We just saw Charlie Dempsey, William Regal-son do his thing in All Japan.
Oh yeah.
WWE wants to work with Stardom, and I think that would be a great relationship, but especially women like Asuka who wrestled there, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and especially the talents they got over there, like a Mayu Iwatani, and I mean, God rest her soul, Hana Kimura came from there. Like, what are your thoughts on this, man? Because I think if they have that thing, we mean NXT Japan, there's so many different ways that they can go with it. I think a Stardom partnership would be great for WWE.
Yeah, and I think that what they're going to end up doing is I think with Tanahashi being the president of New Japan, um, I think that could be a working relationship for them. Somebody else who already came from there, Shinsuke Nakamura,
Yep.
somebody who already came from there. You know, he's already knows the business. You know, Finn Balor already worked there. AJ Styles worked there.
Yep.
You know, so we could quite possibly see, you know, a lot of them working with. I mean, if they're already working with a little bit with All Japan,
I think we.
and I could see them happen. I could see it happening. I could see it, even if it's just maybe once or twice a year,
Mhm.
or you know, swapping talent back and forth to have like their own little forbidden door. I could see it happen.
I mean, you had Nakamura wrestle Great Muta for Noah for a Great Muta's retirement tour.
Yeah, for Noah.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I look at it from a stance too, like with Tanahashi. I mean, Tanahashi's wrestled AJ Styles. That's the first time I ever saw Tanahashi, him and AJ from TNA Final Resolution 06. There's a lot of stuff they could do, and there's that infamous photo that came out with Triple H and Tanahashi that I thought was hilarious from like years and years ago.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that they can do, and that's exciting, and the vibrance that we can have from many different wrestling companies getting together, creating their own forbidden door, as you will. And the women just keep on coming, man, because again, we're going to talk about this here, Paul. Jade Cargill working with Natalya and TJ in the dungeon. I saw the photos. I saw the video. Ricky Starks was in said video as well. Jade Cargill coming along, man.
And the one thing that AJ and or AJ, TJ and Talia have actually created with them opening their own version of the dungeon is taking what a lot of talent from everywhere. This is, now mind you, this isn't just a WWE thing. They're taking talent from everywhere to work with them, you know, to enhance talent, to work with them, even people who are coming back from injuries, you know, and helping them work out. So it's not just Jade, but Jade is part of it. So she looks great. She looks phenomenal. It looks like she's actually putting in as much work as everybody had hoped she would.
I'm glad that you mentioned this too. Like I said, Paul, you're hitting on everything, and this is why I love that we're going to keep continuing to do this because, god dang it, man, Jade Cargill working with the likes of Natalya and TJ. People forget like how underrated TJ was as a worker, and Natalya and what she's done. She's done wonders for all these women, like the Heart Dungeon, the Dynasty, if you will, working there. We saw Ricky Starks working there, like I mentioned. But if you're bringing talent there and Natalya helping out these girls to better apply their craft, add more moves to their repertoire, get the acumen going in the regimen. I dig it, and I love the fact that Jade Cargill is putting in the work. We saw how she was just kind of thrown onto AEW television, but with her size and stature, she made it work. But now here she is on the WWE level, and I can't wait to see where it goes, man. They're keeping her off TV, but that allure, that essence, that overall aura with Jade Cargill, once she's ready and she's TV ready, it's going to be magic, man.
Yeah, I expect her to be in the I don't expect her to be in the Rumble, but I expect her shortly after, maybe sometime after the Rumble, or after WrestleMania, to be part of the company. So I know she's still putting in the work. I know she's still doing what she's doing. So I eventually see her in WWE, and they're going to push her the exact same way that they were initially going to. The big signing that they had.
Yeah, and I mean, I look at the potential matchups we can get with her and Charlotte down the line, her and Becky Lynch, her and Bayley. I mean, there's so many great women in there that she can wrestle.
Bianca Belair is what they're pushing for. Bianca Belair is who they're pushing for.
And she's wanted this. She's mentioned in interviews, like, her and Bianca would have, well, first of all, they got the sass, they got the flavor, and they're very athletic to it. So I'm for it, man. Like, I am for it. And personally, just having her on her shoulders for that KOD, the image of that would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. That, and we don't even know what finisher she's going to have. So,
well, she does do she was doing the Glam Slam, the Jaded from AEW. So I mean, we'll see what she can come up with.
Yeah, but we don't know if she's going to continue to keep doing it, or if TJ and Natalia are actually teaching her some other new things, to kind of hype her up. I mean, would she benefit to go to NXT first? Do you think she would benefit going to NXT first before she hits the main roster?
To be completely honest with you, yes. Like, she could work with a Tiffany Stratton. She can work with a Fallon Henley. She can work with so many great women there. Like, there's a lot of money matches to be had there with a Lyra Valkyria and so many women that are on the come up there.
Those are the exact same names I was thinking of too. She can have such good matches, especially with Tiffany. If she's going to be a babyface, like, that everybody already project her to be, she could be that top babyface in NXT. And Tiffany, Fallon, I think she can have a great run in NXT.
Agreed, man. But like I said, that's the amazing possibilities, and we'll get more to possibilities here because the possibilities are endless, folks. That's the beauty and the allure and the variety of professional wrestling. And we get to some surprises here now because Nick Nemeth was at Wrestle Kingdom with his brother Ryan sitting in the crowd. And later on in the night when David Finlay won that global title, boom, Nick Nemeth and David Finlay got into it, especially at the press conference afterwards. Thoughts on the debut of Nick Nemeth and New Japan?
Oh my God. Dolph Ziggler, if you have no idea who the hell we're talking about. Nick Nemeth, yes. Okay, so I saw him walking through the crowd, and I said, "Yo, holy shit! Don't even tell me he's going to interfere with the match." No, him and his brother actually just sat there. They watched it. Had a little bit of interaction with the guys in the ring, not too much, but just more or less watching everything. Then that press conference with David Finlay, man, that made me laugh because that goes back to the judge that dude that jumped over the judge's freaking table and all of a sudden wiped her out. That was the exact same thing freaking Nick did, jumping it over and hollering it. But it's like every year you go into any New Japan event after Wrestle Kingdom, for some apparent reason, every damn year somebody always trashes the damn backstage area where they're doing interviews. Every year, it's somebody different. Somebody's pissed off and they start tossing tables. They start throwing stuff everywhere, and then they start yelling at the reporters that are there and at the camera and everything. It always happens every single Wrestle Kingdom.
I loved it. Now, my first initial thought was, okay, so I'm like, I see him and Ryan there. I'm like, man, the Nemeth brothers going for the IWG Tag Team Championships. That was my initial thought. But then I'm like, I saw the David Finlay thing, and I'm like, okay, I could dig this. And especially he's wrestled his father, being the one and only Fit Finlay. So I'm digging this. I loved his promo, and I like the fact that we're going to get this. I think it's going to be a great mix and a great contrast of styles for Nick Nemeth and David Finlay. And speaking of contrast of styles, Hiroshi Tanahashi's in the ring. Then the graphic and the vignette comes up. Matt Riddle has challenged him for the TV title, and I'm for Riddle in New Japan.
I'm actually for a different character of Matt Riddle
Yep, more
in New
serious.
Japan. And mind you, he didn't sound like the bro, like bro. Everything was bro in the E. Now he sounded like he was doing full sentences, did say bro, but he still sounded like he was ready to attack somebody, and he was coming after Tanahashi. That's what he's coming after. Zack Sabre Jr. held that title for a whole 365 days till he lost it.
Mm-hmm. For me too, like you mentioned, like he said bro once, but this is more serious. We saw him wrestle Jacob Fatu in MLW, and now here we are with Tanahashi.
Which was a good match.
It was, and I think what we're going to see here with Hiroshi Tanahashi is going to be really good as well. And I like this serious Riddle. I like the Riddle that we saw in Evolve before his tenure in the WWE, wrestling like Timothy Thatcher, who he also wrestled in NXT. But man, I was excited to see both Dolph and Riddle in the New Japan front. And bro, we had another bro who was all about the dream. He was all about the dream, if you will. The Velveteen Dream, DREAM is apologize. I'm going to start with you on this one, bro. What were your thoughts on the Velveteen Dream apology? Okay, I can already see by that delayed reaction. I'll let you go. I'll let you finish.
You could tell it wasn't the delay in the video. It was just me paused, like,
yeah, like I mean, 3 years.
I understand. It's okay, 3 years. I understand that that you kind of maybe sort of knew that this person was underage.
Right.
You may have not known whether they were real or not real. You know, they send you pictures, all of a sudden you send pictures and you're not really for certain, but you're kind of on the cusp of thinking that it may be happening. Why continue it? Why even put yourself in that position, knowing that you work for a company who can make or break you?
Yep.
He did this to himself. And you can go on this whole apology tour all you want, but it isn't going to make a damn difference in a lot of people's minds. You fucked up.
Okay. Bluntly and beautifully said. I echo those sentiments. I will say this. It's great to see him taking accountability. He apologized to Triple H, Shawn Michaels, to Hootie Miles, a.k.a. Ashante the Adonis, in the park. And it was not the 4th of July, and it was not on a Saturday. But he was in the park delivering this apology. I mean, he wasn't read his Miranda rights. He had previous arrests. WWE did the investigation and found nothing with what we were talking about allegation-wise. But WWE, everybody was booing. They wanted him gone. And the WWE made the smart choice of saying, hey, man, you got to go. And he got out. His behavior since then was just spiraling. He even said he wasn't himself. I wish him well, but there is no way ever, like Outcast and Stankonia, that
Forever.
that he is going to be coming back to the WWE with the image that they want now of squeaky clean and what they want for their company from a discipline standpoint, and the Endeavor, ship and Triple H and Nick Khan. Like, there ain't no way that boy's coming back to the WWE. If that was an attempt, they ain't taking you back, bro.
Yeah, that's like them taking back freaking Ryback.
Oh.
Yeah, I threw it there. That's like them taking back Ryback. And that ain't gonna happen. Not under Triple H, not under anybody. Not under Stephanie, not under anybody of that family. They ain't taking his ass back.
But the thing is, it's such a shame. He was such a good talent, dude. Like, I loved his character, I loved his work, but then he fucked it up. He fucked up. It's
like the crowd says when any wrestler messes up in the ring, you fucked up. You fucked up. Yep, exactly. Verbatim, you fucked up. But I mean, if he ends up on the indies, okay, he's gonna end up on the indies. He's gonna do like little small shows. If he's gonna work himself back into any wrestling company, he has to put in the work no matter where the hell he goes, even with the allegations under his belt. It's
So
gonna end up.
I'm gonna put this out here since you put the ride back into the universe there, sir. So you're saying with him doing these little indie shows, so is he gonna be like Alberto El Patron Del Rio there in the high school gym in like Texas, doing that like small ass crowd, or Tessa Blanchard where she can only get hired like at local indies and CMLL like that,
Yeah,
or going that? Okay, we're going there.
yeah, we're going there because yeah, but the difference is like, okay, these weren't the same allegations. Ryback's just a dumbass, and
Yes. Yeah.
he wants to mouth off his shit. I get it.
Yeah.
Um, what's her face couldn't buy her way into a WWE or AEW locker room because she's more toxic than, I don't know,
More toxic than Britney Spears is what you're saying.
thank you, more toxic than Britney Spears. Yeah, exactly.
But
And
yeah,
it's just there's there isn't a place for him in a major company. Work the indies.
I am right there with you. So if any indie want now, remember at the time, like no, they wanted some indie wanted to book him, but then like they were like, okay, yeah, no, we're not gonna book him, and they canceled him right off of that because somebody informed them of the allegations. Like they
Yeah, but then there was the other stuff that happened too. He got picked up for the cocaine. He got picked up for for all the methamphetamines that he had in his car.
and the Miranda
Um,
right.
yeah, again, back to things that happened to him, and it was like the occurrence happened just right before you were supposed to wrestle an event.
Yep.
You know,
Patrick
you
Clark.
Patrick Clark. So, yeah, you fucked up.
Get your shit together, brother.
Let's talk about somebody. Let's talk about somebody else who probably fucked up.
Probably fucked up. I like your segues, sir. Chris Jericho. Stop fucking drunk tweeting at 4:00 in the morning to Stephen P. New, Chris.
Yes, please do me a favor, Chris. Stop fucking drunk texting fucking people in the middle of the night. Stop drunk tweeting in the middle of the damn night. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's Christmas. Stop it, Chris. Let people enjoy their Christmas. Jim Cornette
exactly.
with the best comeback. Take Tony Khan's dick out of your fucking mouth and everything. It's just, why do you want to go there with Jim Cornette? Like that. I mean, you can say what you want about it, but that verbal exchange was hilarious. And then we find out that goddamn Nick Hausman in the Rumor and Innuendo on his podcast, pretty much says like, well, what about the NDAs that you were signed, Chris? And the fact that, hey man, you're like Harvey Weinstein, and then hey man, NDAs, people were booing him at the Nassau Coliseum, and then this Twitter account put out the David Starr thing. If we could talk about that, how about we talk about Chris Jericho? And then Kylie Ray gave the old heart emoji to it. Chris Jericho, Kylie Ray, did he make a pass at her allegedly and whatnot? And that led to her. Well, we're going to get into this because this led to her AEW. This is 2019. This is a mere 5 years ago now. What are your thoughts about this whole mess? Because as AEW is going into World's End, this happens. There's always something within the AEW umbrella.
I think I had the Robert Davis I think Robert Davis was the one that actually we were having this exchange on the page.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, I go, wasn't she just like, she had like a few matches, wasn't really signed, even though I think she had signed. And he said that she did. Then it was like all of a sudden she like disappeared.
Yes.
And then a few years later, she ended up pregnant, and she congratulations on having a baby. But I don't know the whole situation, and I get Chris is going to do whatever he's going to do, and if he did this, hey, hope you get what you deserve. But if he didn't, and these are just allegations, people trying to, make a name for themselves using somebody else, then fuck them. But we don't know the whole story. All we got is a bunch of allegations. Hopefully TK takes it seriously, and if a lot of fans are going to stick behind him, a lot of fans are going to pretty much turn their backs on him, until everything innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, sir. And I mean
and not the other way around.
Yes.
Trevor Bauer.
People don't forget. Now I'm going to put it like this. When somebody put a clip of the 2019 press conference where they asked Tony Khan about Kylie Ray, he seemed very nervous, and it was amicable, it was mutual, she wanted to go. And then we get to the media scrum, And Tony Storm puts the glasses and the hat on him, and he gets asked this serious question. Bruh, take the hat off, take the glasses off. This is a serious moment. If you noticed, after that question, Adam Hopkins, the PR guy, who was probably, his heart was pounding over like friggin' 180 over 20, his blood pressure was up. Like, Tony, it's not a good look. Take the glasses off, take the hat off. And he's answering the question in the glasses and the hats. And the disciplinary committee and and our company is the safest out there. When 3 months before you were afraid of your life, you were scarred because your boy CM Punk lunged at you. He lunged at you. Just the way he handled that at the media scrum was just so. Ugh. But whatever. Hopefully we get an answer on this soon. If Chris Jericho, like Paul said, did it, get yours. If not, Nick Hausman is probably going to get sued for,
For
talking out
defamation of character.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, like I said, it's innocent until proven guilty. If Kaylee Ray is bitter about him not advancing on her, or if he actually advanced on her, I'm not saying, now mind you, these are just my words, and I'm not necessarily saying that anything happened. I'm not saying that Kaylee's wrong. I'm not saying that Jericho's wrong. I'm not saying that Kaylee's right, and I'm not saying Jericho's right. What I'm saying is that there are three sides to every story. There are his side, her side, and then the truth. So it's either meet in the middle, or we either get it or we don't.
I feel like
it's either he's going to end up settling out of court, or if we're settling out and just paying her, saying, here, you know what, here's some money, yada yada yada. He heard your silence. I'm sorry for what I did. Or it comes out that it was just a false whatever. No, we don't know.
Remind me of an episode of Couples Court there. It's his side, her side, and the truth. That's what it is. It's like an episode of Couples Court.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Maury to come out and say, you are the father. That's what I'm waiting for.
My thing with Kylie Ray is, if you remember at the time, like, first of all, folks, she's the same age as me. She's 31. She just had a kid, like Paul Morales just said. Like, she was in AEW, then she went to Impact for a little bit. She was supposed to wrestle and beat Deonna Purrazzo at that Bound for Glory, but she didn't show up, and the reason was due to mental health. And Impact wished her well. She said it was fine with Impact. Then she did the NWA, the Power, the women's pay-per-view. And then that was it for Kylie Ray. So I mean,
well, she was in WWE. She was in the Mae Young tournament too. So
was she in the Mae Young, or was she on an episode of Main Event?
No, she was in NXT for a little while.
Okay.
Before she went back to Impact.
Oh, fair enough then. Okay. But yeah, still, it's yeah, I mean, it's tough. And I think with her, like, I thought she was very solid, but hopefully, just whatever goes on happens. And I mean, it's so frustrating just to see all this, just because it's just like, you don't need this mess. And if there's a lot of mess, you clean it up and you take care of it and you fix it. So I wish everybody well involved, man.
And I really hope the allegations aren't true. I really hope that, I really hope of whatever happens, it comes out, Yeah, I wish everybody else, everybody comes out, on the other end, happy, and not necessarily with all this drama, because nobody needs it. Neither one of them need it.
No,
she's beginning her family, he's, trying to finish out the rest of his career. So
yeah. So, I mean, what we're going to finish out here, folks, is the first edition of this show. And I got to say, before we come to the end here, Paul, I'm really looking forward to doing more of these with you. It's a blast talking wrestling with you and just really talking product and shooting the breeze with a buddy. I cannot wait till our next episode. Like, I'm really excited that we're going to be doing this series. I truly appreciate you.
Yeah, you're all right.
Thanks, man. So, since I'm all right, you all right, where can we follow?
You all right. I'm all right. You all right. We cool.
We cool. So, with that being said, Mr. Paul Morales, where can we follow the RWT Deadman on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? Where can we follow you on the social media?
Of course, you can find me on Twitter under the RWT_Deadman. They usually retweet a lot of the stuff that he does. You could also find me on the RWT Facebook page. That's another place you can find me. I'm not as active as I used to be, but I figure new year, new me, I guess. I'm starting to post a hell of a lot more, and I'm actually starting to be a little bit more active more. I want to thank you. I have to thank you first and foremost. See, I'm taking your words. First and foremost, I have to thank you Now the reason why is because the reason why I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, why are you thanking him? Well, let me tell you. I actually quit podcasting for a little while, mostly because I thought I sounded like an idiot. Then I turned my back on a good friend of mine, Moses Marquez. I love you, my brother. Sorry. Michael Larkin, thank you for giving me this chance.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to do this again.
You're very welcome, man. And I'm happy to give you the opportunity and be a part of the show.
Wait. Fuck you, Moses. Thank you. That could be your clip for whatever you want to use it for, because you need a YouTube clip, just that'll be it, because I love Moses to death, because that's something I always tell him. I always go like, man, fuck you, Moses. But that's my thing. That's my thing to him, because he knows I love him.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that will be definitely clipped. So
welcome to episode 1,
motherfuckers, of the weekly review.
Yeah, you're the weekly review.
Oh boy. So if you want to follow me and Paul and everybody on this great channel, we have hit 722 subscribers. Let's get it up to 1K, baby. Follow me. A lot of shows are going to be out this week, including this one, an interview with pro wrestler Alice Inc., more LFC stuff. Tommy Bell Art, Sketchy and Funny will be out as well. And just a lot of content I've been putting out past, present, and especially in the near future, and especially my boy DC on Uncaged. My goodness, lots of stuff. So just be on the lookout, folks, and follow, subscribe, Mike Larkin 92 on YouTube, MCL 92 and SM Show 1 on the Twitter. Instagram is Larkin_92 and MLarkinMB, and LFCfights.com for all your lingerie fighting championships needs, and SteveandMikeShow.com for all your podcasting needs. For the RWT Deadman, Paul Morales, my name is Mike Larkin. Fuck you, Moses, and thank you for watching the weekly review. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.